I must say that I have been disappointed with De Bruyne's output since bringing him in on the World Cup wildcard. Shaw, Trippier and Estepinian are all blanking in 25 as we now know. With Kane, he only needs to score one goal to match that output, essentially. As long as he plays the 90 minutes, no injuries, no booking, stuff like that, we get a 2-pointer for his 90 minutes and 4 points for his goal, then he's matched Botman already. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan and I'm here to bring you another FPL video. In this one, we're going to be looking at my final team selection ahead of game week 22. Of course, we'll be talking all things captaincy, vice captaincy, bench options, transfer options, and so on in this video today. Of course, now the EFL and FA Cup fixtures have also finalised and taken place. We'll be able to talk about all things blank game week 25 and how I'm going to navigate towards that. And of course, as well, we'll do a brief recap on how I got on in game week 21. So let's have a look first of all at how I got on in game week 21. Just as a brief recap, I have already kind of spoken about this in my previous first team selection video I released earlier. But yeah, it was a very, very good game week for me. 94 points all out. You know, my rank again was another green arrow to 170k. So very, very confident that I'll be able to push now for that 100k finish. I think the squad's in a fantastic position, and yeah, just very, very happy overall. Of course, yeah, we have 2.8 million in the bank for the 2 free transfers that I have going into game week 22. So all out, 94 points, very, very happy with that. So let's have a look at how the team's shaping up for game week 22 then. We'll start off by talking about defence. So we've got Kepa, Trippier and Estepinian all with single game weeks this week, but very favourable home fixtures against Fulham, West Ham and Bournemouth respectively. So expecting big things from those three. And then of course Luke Shaw coming with the back-to-back home fixtures on his double, which is even better. So I literally have 5 home fixtures in terms of my defensive line. They were an amazing set of assets to own last week, and of course this week I expect even more so. So very, very happy. Looking forward to what Estepinian can produce for that Bournemouth at home fixture. He's actually just risen in price as well overnight to 4.6 million, which I'm happy with. And of course, yes, he is someone that I may have to look at removing ahead of the blank game week of game week 25. All 3 of these defenders, bar of course the goalkeeper there, Shaw, Trippier and Estepinian, are all blanking in 25 as we now know. So it's something I have to deal with over the next few weeks. I have to look at who I want to prioritise and bench and keep across the squad. Maybe I end up just having 10 starting players, but very happy with game week 22's lineup thus far. With the midfield then, we line up very, very similarly, except I have already made 1 transfer and confirmed Christian Eriksen out for Saka. Of course, if you're not fully up to date with news, Christian Eriksen did receive an ankle injury against the Reading FA Cup fixture for Manchester United at the weekend from a pretty poor challenge, I must say, from Andy Carroll. And it's meant that Christian Eriksen is going to be out until at least late April, as confirmed by Erik ten Hag. So it made sense to move him on. He was actually one of my transfer routes anyway. I don't think I was going to keep hold of him with the likes of wanting Bruno Fernandes, for example. I already had Shaw, Eriksen and Rashford as a triple up. It made sense to move Eriksen on to somebody else and then possibly De Bruyne to Fernandes, right? So Saka makes the most sense to me. I wanted the double Arsenal attack. I wanted that investment in them. And of course, they also double in game week 23. So not only do I get a great fixture for Everton away, but of course, I get the double in game week 23 without having to use an extra transfer on it. So made sense. I had the money in the bank to do it. I've now got 0.9 million in the bank with an overall squad value of 102.2, which you can see below. I've then got Rodrigo as the doubler. I'm not expecting massive things from him. I mean, Nottingham Forest away, they've had a really good home record recently. And of course, Man United away as well. I think that's going to be a tricky double for him. But I'm not going to be selling him ahead of this game week. It doesn't make sense. I think he's definitely someone that I'll probably be moving on later down the line, just because now with Leeds' movement in the transfer window signing Rutter as a forward option, and of course Bamford coming back from injury, and the way Nonto plays as well is very, very forward thinking in from that left-hand side. I do feel like Rodrigo may end up being asked to drop just that little bit deeper, or of course if he starts alongside Bamford, I would expect that Bamford fills that number 9 role and Rodrigo is in that deeper position. So not from an FPL perspective, it's not great that this has happened, I suppose, ahead of the double game week really, but you know, we'll take what we get from him. There's no way I'm going to sell him ahead of a double game week. With Rashford, I mean, he's kind of, at this point, he's just a must-own, right? 2 assists in 10 minutes against Nottingham Forest in the EFL Cup yesterday. Fantastic performances. Old Trafford as well is pretty much his stomping ground at the moment. So a triple captaincy for him could be a really, really positive play for you if you still hold that chip. But of course, I do understand those of you that hold for possibly Haaland in double game week 23. Then we've got De Bruyne. As I said earlier, I don't necessarily feel like he's going to make my squad, but I must say that I have been disappointed with De Bruyne's output since bringing him in on the World Cup wildcard. And I think, as I say, targeting Bruno Fernandes on this double just makes the most sense. With Christian Eriksen's injury, it's actually quite interesting because I anticipate that Bruno will take more set pieces now, because really it was between Rashford, Eriksen and Bruno in terms of direct free kicks. I would expect that Rashford probably does take the ones that are maybe 30 yards or so out. We know what he can do and how he can make that ball move. But I do feel like Bruno will have essentially more chances to assist now and create now that Eriksen is injured. So I definitely see a huge upside in not only going for a double game weeker, but also having somebody that's on a lot more set pieces, and what we anticipate him still to be on penalties as well. So it makes perfect sense to use that second free transfer as we record today, but we'll see come the deadline tomorrow what I decide. And then Odegaard, of course, against Everton. It's a double up on that Arsenal attack. He's been performing phenomenally since the World Cup restart. I do feel like he's been overperforming slightly in FPL terms, but I'm very, very happy to own him long term as well. So, the midfield is shaping up to be a fantastic one in this week. And then finally, I have the double striker here of Kane and Haaland. I could have realistically benched Kane. I do have Botman from Newcastle as an available option for me to bench Kane and bring Botman on against a favourable West Ham fixture at St James's Park. But I've just got a feeling that the ceiling for Kane is obviously a lot higher, right? We know that from a defensive point of view. Yes, Newcastle do keep a high number of clean sheets, but Botman's ceiling realistically is 6 points. He has had some close chances from set pieces, but overall his ceiling you would anticipate to be 6 points. With Kane, he only needs to score one goal to match that output, essentially. As long as he plays the 90 minutes, no injuries, no booking, stuff like that, we get a 2-pointer for his 90 minutes and 4 points for his goal, then he's matched Botman already. And I feel like that could be a possibility for him against Manchester City. So the upside is massive there for him. He's on penalties as well. I think it makes more sense to play him rather than benching him. And then, of course, Erling Haaland is going nowhere in the team, right? Finally, we'll be talking about captaincy and bench options then. So captaincy firmly on Marcus Rashford. I don't personally see myself moving it onto Bruno, although I do understand the reasoning why some people may want to do it. As mentioned, I do anticipate that he would be the penalty taker for Manchester United. Maybe unless Rashford has already scored a brace, let's say, and he wants to go for the hat-trick. Maybe Bruno steps down for that reason, right? But these are all if, buts and maybes. I think in terms of solid form and what's been happening recently in terms of Manchester United's output, Rashford has been at the heart of most of it, right? So I think it makes sense to captain him, and like I said earlier, even triple captain him if you've still got that chip available. And then for the vice captaincy, it is on De Bruyne at the moment, but like I said, I'm pretty certain that becomes Bruno anyway. And then with the bench, I've got Ward against Villa, a possibility to play him, but I just think I prefer Chelsea's home fixture against Fulham. Then I've got Botman, as mentioned, ceiling of 6 points, so I'm pretty certain he just comes as the first bench option and would only come into the starting 11 should there be any injury or situation where he gets auto-subbed in. We've then got Sam Greenwood with that double. I expect him to have only a couple of appearance points, if that, so he's second on the bench. And then, of course, Bueno, third option against Liverpool at home. So that's how the team is shaping up in full, guys. Let me know in the comments below what your transfer plans are. If you've got any headaches, I'll answer all your questions, benching or transfer possibilities. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, just and join me on the live stream tomorrow as well, because I'll always answer your questions live too. But in terms of my transfer plans, Eriksen to Saka, as we've already seen, has now been confirmed by me. As you can see, we've got Brentford and Manchester City home fixtures for Arsenal in game week 23. So I've got him for that double, and then a very, very, very positive fixture with Villa away on game week 24. So a great run of fixtures for him. Very happy to go with that transfer. And then De Bruyne looks like he's more than likely going to become Bruno Fernandes with back-to-back home fixtures in this double, and then a Leeds away and a Leicester at home fixture in game week 23 and 24. So even if I decide to hold on to him, which I doubt at this point, because I probably do want to target another double in game week 23 and Fernandes may make way, even if I decide to go a different route, I'm actually very happy with that Leeds away fixture for Bruno. So we'll see what I end up doing. There are alternative routes for me to get to somebody else. Holding on to Bruno may be a bit risky because of the blank in game week 25, but I could also do something like a Botman, who is a blanker in game week 25, to a Zinchenko, for example, and have an Arsenal defender, which I don't currently have. And of course, they are doubling in game week 23, and I really do rate Zinchenko in under this Arteta's Arsenal squad. And I feel like he could potentially have a very, very high ceiling as well. So Fernandes may even stay in the team in game week 23, but of course we'll cover that next week when the time comes. But hopefully, guys, you found the content useful as always. If you did and you are enjoying the content, then please feel free to subscribe. It is completely free, and I'll be by your side answering all your questions, giving you all the tips and tricks for the remainder of this season and beyond to help you get those all-important green arrows, guys. And as mentioned earlier, if you want to join me on the live stream, I will be doing that tomorrow ahead of the deadline. So come and join me, come and say hello. I'd love to have you there on board. And of course, finally, guys, if you enjoy the content, the easiest way to support this channel is boot that like button below for me. It really does more than you can imagine. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video or in a live stream very, very soon. Take care.